October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and today on Rooted in Progress, we're breaking the silence.
We are honoring survivors and starting the conversation that can save lives. Rooted in Progress starts right now.
Welcome. I got Daniel in the shot, getting some behind the scenes footage. And if you follow us on our social media, WFLA Rooted in Progress, Instagram, Facebook, then you would see all the amazing behind the scenes footage. This is the guy that's behind it right here. Say hello, Daniel.
Hey, my friend.
There you go. All right, guys. Welcome on this next to the last day of October of 2025. Naisha, we are almost done with this year. And it felt like it just started. What is going on?
It's crazy. I mean, like, we just started October, I felt like 2 days ago.
Right.
And now Thanksgiving is around the corner.
Right,
Can
exactly.
you believe that?
Yeah, I'm sure most people are ready to get rid of the Halloween costumes and throw up the Thanksgiving holiday decorations. And
Most people go straight to Christmas.
Well,
let's be real.
exactly. Yeah. So, man, we got a very interesting topic on today's show. And given the fact that we're still in October, it is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is a heavy topic. And we had someone had commented on our show earlier this month about, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we wanted to say, and I think they were being a little sarcastic. However, you gave us a great idea. So thank for the hate.
Yes.
We congratulate, So, but yeah, diving right into this topic. This is a very heavy show we got today. So if you want to introduce our guest, Naisha, I can go ahead and bring them in.
Of course. So today joining us, we have Maria Aswood from Sugar Rita's Bakery and Danielle Hernandez from the founder of the Agatha's Recovery Fund. Nice to join us.
Welcome, ladies.
Good
Welcome. Yeah.
How you
Go ahead and
feeling?
salute you. So let's just dive in again. This is domestic violence. And these two women that are sitting here have some amazing stories. Both, unfortunately, have dealt with domestic violence. So, Maria, we're going to dive into your story. Give us a little background of who you are, where you come from, and how did you end up in that situation?
Hi, my name is Maria Aswood, as they say. They call me Sugar Rita here in Tampa. I'm from the Dominican Republic. I came here when I was 9, almost 10 years old. And yes, I am a domestic violence survivor, actually. My first husband, and I was with him for many years. 27 years, 9 years dating and 19 married.
Wow.
So, yes.
Well, how did you guys meet?
Actually, we met when we were little in the Dominican Republic, but
Okay.
I don't remember him. His family knows my family. And actually, when I remember he was 14, when he left from Dominican Republic to New York. So we met actually in the building. My family and his family, they know each other.
Yeah.
So,
And you guys were in high school?
We were friends.
Yeah, okay.
We were friends. And we didn't get to high school together. I went to Catholic school. He went
Gotcha.
to public school. And but after a few years actually being friends, then we started dating. And we lasted 9 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Any early signs of domestic abuse or verbal abuse or?
Not at the beginning.
Okay.
At the beginning, everything was beautiful, but then through the relationship before marriage, actually, there were signs there. They were signs.
Yeah.
They were, but once we got married, things came a little bit more aggressive, but I was very in love. So, you don't pay attention to that. You ignore that when you actually in love.
Yeah.
You do.
They say love is blind.
Exactly. And I was blind for many years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, when did the abuse start? Like when did it when you realized like, okay, things are changing? When was that shift? Do you recall?
It actually got heavier probably after we had our kids.
Okay.
I have a scarf right here. I have a scarf
Wow.
of one day actually that he picked me up and threw me across the bedroom. And actually, I have a cut. And I remember I had to lie to my kids and lie to my family that I felt. And I hit myself with the door. They knew that the door had like an opening, a metal opening. And that was my story, you know. So it actually became a little bit worse after we got married.
And do you think it's harder when it's definitely harder when the kids get involved? Because
yes, it
it's
is.
like used as like a weapon against you, would you say?
Yes, I remember my 10-year-old actually telling me when she was my 22-year-old, when she was 10, I remember I was here in Tampa, I was baking, and then she just turned around and said, "Mommy, you know, it's so crazy. I know how I can manipulate you because since Papi does that so naturally, I know how to do it." Actually, I wanted it just to turn around and slap her, but I'm like, you know what? It's my fault. So, you know, I had it. But that was, you know, it hurt.
I'm sorry. You said that when
she knew the manipulation.
She knew. She saw.
So
it.
she knows, and she learned how to
Yeah.
do it. So she goes, "It's so easy to manipulate you." So, and I could do it because I learned it from Papi.
Yeah.
I have observed him and everything. And actually, you know, the way she said it, it was funny. But then again, it wasn't funny.
Now, how old was she at the time when she noticed?
Was 10.
She was 10. Yeah.
She was 10. She was 10, and you know, and me being with that person, it affected both of them because I have two girls. So especially the big one, you know, if I would have left earlier, I don't think, you know, that much damage was going to. I didn't left on time.
Well,
And actually, you know, they went to therapy since they were little, and it was hard. It was hard because if you leave on time in an earlier age, then you know probably you could get better things out of them. But then no, I actually left like about 9 years ago. 9 years.
And how far along in the relationship at that point? You were 10, 15 years with this gentleman at that time?
Oh, yes. Like, abuse was always there.
Yeah.
And then you learn things that, that is not you. Because actually I could tell you probably I have some traits of manipulation because I learned it through that relationship, and it's just a hard thing to be.
Yeah. You said if you would have left on time. And I think the biggest issue comes from the fact that you don't know when there is a good time to leave.
Yes.
Talk about that. Talk about when enough was enough and it was that right time.
You know what? I had somebody, before I tell you when was enough, I had somebody, the teacher that I learned how to make cake in New York City.
Okay.
I remember I moved to Tampa. Then I went back to New York to actually learn how to do cakes because I said I'm going to learn how to make a good Dominican cake because I make Dominican cake. I remember taking class. My ex-husband went to pick me up one day. And that time, he was drunk. And it was embarrassing to me. The next day when I came back to the teacher, I said, "I'm sorry, he was drunk." He goes, "It's okay." So I kind of opened up to him. And the first thing he asked me, "How old are your kids?" They were little. And I said, I forgot the age. I have 2 girls. He goes, "Okay." So he thought about it. He goes, "Okay, you have 2 years. 2 years. And you have to think about it. Because if you're going to leave, you have to leave.
Yeah.
If you actually take more than 2 years, it's going to be late for those kids. They're going to suffer more than what they have been suffering right now. And you still have time." He told me, "You still have time." But I wasn't ready.
And how old were your kids at the time?
I think they were probably 6 and 8.
Yeah.
So he knew because, he knew. He was like, "You only have 2 years. Yeah. 2 years. And things could change. Things could be better."
Right.
But
Right.
I never listened.
Wow.
I really didn't. And actually, enough was enough when I remember, because he used to drink alcohol, and then he actually used to take drugs. So he actually got to the worst drug there was here in Tampa. And I said, wait a second, this is too much. He's never going to change. He's just getting worse and worse and worse. So I can, because I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I'm always working. And, I used to bring more to the table because there was time that he wasn't even working.
Wow.
So, and I said, I can, literally I was draining myself and, crying all the time. Even though I'm a sweet person, because I'm a sweet person, and what I demonstrate out there, I could be having problems in these four walls, but then I don't show that outside.
Right.
So, but then my family and his family knew that what I was going through. They were being patient, but my mom used to suffer a lot too. But then one night I remember I said, it's enough, because I remember his aunt told me, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to say, you're going to be ready. Don't get rid of him. Don't get rid of him because you're not ready. You tried to get rid of him and you took him back. So, but there's going to be a day for you that you're going to wake up and that's it. And that day, I remember the first person that I called was his aunt. Wow. And I said, I'm done. I'm ready. She said, amen. She passed away, but she told me amen to that. And never went back.
Now, at that time, you guys had moved to Tampa, so all this took place here in Tampa.
Yes.
Real quick, before I bring Danielle, our other guest, in, she's out there on the island by herself. We don't want to forget it. We haven't forgot you, Danielle. But real quick, at some point in you all's relationship, did you notice, was it because of perhaps a job loss or drugs, something that led to that moment, something that led up to the abuse of the abuse of alcohol?
Or did it start with like the words, like the verbal, and then it just escalated to the physical?
Yes, it started with he used to talk to me like he was a lion, that he was going to eat me up. He was actually more verbal than anything else. Sometimes it used to escalate but yeah, it was a combination of, work, because I think half of the time that I was with him, half of the time he worked and half of the time he didn't work. Yeah. So it was a combination of work and then alcohol and drugs. So, because he's not a bad person. He's a good person. Gotcha. It's just the drugs and the alcohol made him another person. Wow.
So we're going to bring Danielle in. And again, Danielle is also currently she's a attorney. She has her own law firm, but you two suffered through this horrific time in your life. Do you mind telling us a little bit about it?
So some of what I call her Sugarita. Some of what Sugarita has said definitely resonates with a lot of my experience. I had my dream job. Well, I met this person really young. I think I was like 21 or 22. And I had plans, right? So I just finished undergrad and I was going to law school. So I got in this relationship that was long distance. And for me, it was a lot of like the tall tale signs. Like there was a lot of yelling and a lot of manipulation that starts with like, well, don't spend time with your friends and you're spending too much time with your family. And I'm Latina and I call my mom every day, if not 2 times a day. And I talk to my family members a lot. So it began with the subtle like, oh, why do you need to talk to your family every day? These little things of control. Then it starts with, let's skip the holiday party and let's skip this event and skip that event. So that gradually happened with years. And I was in that relationship for about 12 years. Wow. And I got through law school and we didn't have any physical abuse for me. I think similar to what Maria was saying is for me, everything went downhill as soon as I got married. Something happened as soon as I got married. It just kind of unleashed who this person really was that I think I don't know. So there were signs, going to Naisha's question, there was the subtle manipulation and yelling, definitely a lot of yelling to control behavior. And I didn't see it. There's everyone in the world. I had a come to Jesus moment with my mom. She sat down to me and was like, please don't get married. Everyone around me saw it, even though there wasn't physical abuse, but my mom had a sit down. I'll never forget. She's like, you don't have to get married. You don't have to do this. But I was like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Now, how long did you guys date before you got married and the abuse started?
So,
or at least the verbal abuse.
We were together 5 or 6 years before we got married and before the physical abuse started, because that did catch me by surprise. I think one time we had an episode where he punched me on the leg and I was shocked. And that's one moment that will always stick with me, because when I talk to young women, I'm like, call the police the first time. Don't give chances. There are no chances. There is no chances for anybody to put their hands on you.
But did you know that? I mean, how did you feel after that punch? Was it like
It was a shock.
Was it like a kind of a angry punch?
Yes.
Or
it was
playful punch?
It was it was an angry punch. And I know that moment because I regret not going full force and just doing what I had to do at the moment. It took me... that must have been in like 2008, and I didn't leave until 2019.
Oh wow.
So it never happened again until I think it was 2011, 2013. But then I endured 6 years after that. So it built up is what I'm saying. It was control and yelling, and then I couldn't go out with my friends, and these things that don't start overnight, because those are some of the questions I get. Well, why would you get with somebody abusive? I'm like, no, it wasn't like that. It builds up. And for me, it was like the things you allow to happen and not say anything, that then, it became the time with my family, traveling alone. I couldn't, go out with my friends. I couldn't go out at night. And I'm doing all this while I'm finishing law school, taking the bar. I got my dream job. So I worked through this while I had my dream job in the federal government. Then I got my second dream job, and like my personal life was hell. So that's how I got there. And then I got married and everything went downhill, got worse.
Oh my goodness. Now, where were you located at the time?
I was living in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I remember I was working my dream job. So on the outside, everything was great. It was that one career I always wanted. Living in D.C., I'm working in intelligence. I have a whole wedding, all the bells and whistles. And I think it was like a month or two after when he finally really put his hands on me. And I was shocked. Like, I just got married. And my mom just literally told me not to do this, and here I am. So that started a whole 6 years. I consider myself lucky to have. It seems like long, but when I hear the years and time, I feel lucky that when I had my realization, it did hit me one day. I tell people that you'll know when you're ready. Yeah. It was a November for me, and I was walking outside, and I remember thinking, there's absolutely nothing I'm ever going to do to change this. Like, this is not my fault. It finally hit me. There's nothing I'm doing. And if everything was still perfect, he would still hit me. It would still be a reason for this to happen. And I realized that in November, and I couldn't leave until February. So I had to, life got in the way, holidays, the furlough. I was a government worker and I was furloughed. So it took me some time to get there as well.
Now, Danielle, you mentioned your mom, and Maria, you also mentioned that your aunt kind of saw the telltale signs. Like, did you really at that moment, did you think they were crazy? Or, I mean, you know how parents are. I'm a dad. I have a daughter that dates. My son dates. I don't, so, always like, you don't need that person. Focus on da-da-da-da-da. So was there that person in your life other than your mom and your aunt that kind of just like, hey, yeah, you need to listen to them?
For me, it was my mom. I wish other people would have said something. I also hit it really well. You become a master of excuses.
Yes.
Oh gosh, you just become you become like the most pleasant person around other people. I was excellent at my job. People who worked with me had no idea. They were shocked because my thing was so public. I had a really public fallout that my coworkers called me. Were like, I had no idea. Like, I'm so sad that I didn't know this about you. And I was like, it's not your fault. Yeah. I was really good at acting like I was okay. So.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
And you as well, Maria?
Yes, but then then again, all my family, like my mom, my dad, my brother, all his family, they knew because I used to kind of talk to them about it, but nobody used to get into like they used to tell me, well, you know, you need to leave, but then you don't pay attention. You don't. Especially, like I said, when you're in love, you don't pay. It's like nothing matters. Just you think that person is going to change. And you just
you're waiting for that thing
there.
to happen.
You know, and he used to change for a while, but then again, went back to the same thing.
Like I'm so baffled that anybody could get that angry to put their hands on a person. And was there ever a conversation with your spouse like, yo, what is going on here? What, you know, this is not right. Stop this. Was there ever that moment? Did you ever threaten to call the authorities? Or were you too afraid?
Once I did call the cops on him once because he actually, I remember that was the determination that I actually called my cousin the next morning. I said, I'm moving to Tampa. Actually, that night we went out with his cousin and he got so drunk. And I lived in a building and I stood, like I went inside my house. I went inside the apartment and I know he was drunk, but then I walk away. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the stairs. I went up by one flight up and I stood there sitting down. Wow. You know, I'm like, okay, he's going to go to sleep because he's so drunk. He's going to go to sleep. But no, he was looking for me. He went outside. He went to knock at his cousin's house. And, you know, he was calling. Then after an hour, I said, what are you doing? Go home and go to sleep. He goes, where are you? He told me like 9 times, I'm going to kill you. I am going to kill you. So I actually felt so afraid. I called the cop on him. I did. And I told the cops, I don't want him here. He just told the cop, tell her to send my passport. He took a flight to the Dominican Republic that same morning.
Wow. And
that's when I told my cousin the next morning, I'm leaving to Tampa. I packed in 3 days and I left.
Wow.
I left. I left everything behind.
So did you guys, ladies, excuse me, were there any resources? So you had limited people that you told, but going back to kind of what Terrence's question was, like therapy or like any professionals that you can lean on?
No.
Or do you think that's a little taboo with this kind of situation?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so. I was embarrassed. I worked for the Department of Homeland Security. I was a prosecutor. I had a really high level job, very public, and I didn't want people to know that about me. And that happened. There was no therapy because he was just mine. Didn't drink. He didn't have drugs. It was no excuse. He was just angry and controlling, and unemployed. So I thought, okay, maybe when he gets a job or maybe when he gets what he wants in his career. And then I remember thinking, it just hit me like, it doesn't matter what. It has nothing to do with me. Yeah. So for my situation, I couldn't call the cops because I absolutely feared for my life. I knew if that ever happened, it was never going to be like a call the cops and he's going to leave. So my leaving situation is a little bit more dramatic than that. I had to sneak away. I think I tell people that all the time. So I wasn't free to just walk my son to school in the morning. So I would get escorted to walk my son to school. And then he was 1.5. And I remember telling the teachers, I had the resources. I had already called the National Domestic Violence Hotline because I knew I needed a plan. I knew I was dealing with someone who's very smart, very vindictive. So I had to protect myself. So I knew I needed a plan. I called the hotline and kind of saw like, okay, my biggest fear is he's going to accuse me of kidnapping my son. So they go through a strategy where you plan, like, what are the documents you absolutely need to take with you? Got it. What do I need to do? So I got a list of contact the Attorney General of the states and the letter, send them and let them know I have got it. And then I walked my son. This was a couple of days before, because at that point I had just suffered a really horrific incident with him and I was literally like battered and bruised. So the Monday comes when I knew it was the day. I had just confided in, I hadn't told anybody, nobody knew. But I confided in my best friend because I needed someone else to tell me, girl, you need to leave. So I finally told her, And I got the nerve to tell my godmother, who I knew was going to tell my mom. So once my mom knew, there was no going back from that plan. Then Monday rolled around, and I took my son to school. And when I was leaving him inside, I was in San Francisco. I said, hey, don't take his coat off. I'm going to turn right back around, and we're going to the police. And everybody pitched in and helped. So I walked around the building. He went home. I came right back around. I took my 1-year-old baby. They watched out while I took a lift, and we went straight to the police station. And I left that city that same day with my purse and my toddler, and I never looked back. I pressed charges, and I had to hide, and I had to sneak away that morning with my passport, and I couldn't even take a bottle of water because it was out of the norm. So I had to leave that same day, quit my dream job via text message, but I did what I had to do to get out and move all the way across the country. So
wow. Unbelievable. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. So we got more coming up with Maria and Danielle on their domestic violence experience. Stay tuned. We are back in the WFLA Rooted in Progress studio. My name is Terrence Middlebrooks. I don't think I introduced us off the top, Naisha.
No,
so for the new people that are watching, I'm your host, Terrence Middlebrooks, alongside Naisha Harper. Today we're talking breaking free, domestic violence, survival, and strength, and have two amazing women in our studio. Maria, who's better known as Sugarita, if you're in the Tampa area and know about her bakery goods, and we got more to show you here later. And Danielle Hernandez, who's with DVH Law Group. So, Danielle, you just kind of gave us a very powerful story of how you escaped. And my question to you is, you said you had a plan. What motivated you to get a plan? And Maria, my question to both of you ladies are, at any moment, did you ever, obviously you fear for your life, but was it every day that you lived in this fear and panic that this could be my last day here on earth?
Oh, I walked on eggshells all the time, every day. But I became more fearful when I became a mom. So I didn't have a mom. I'm sorry, I didn't have a child. My son was born when I was 33. Because I went to law school and did all that. So I had a 1.5-year-old baby. And I remember thinking, if I'm gone, who's going to take care of him? I don't want him to take care of him. Like, he's a horrible person. And if my precious little baby has to be raised by this person, that's just not going to happen. So I need to take care of myself. So my mama bear instinct kicked in. And I think if it wasn't for him, I don't know that I would have left.
Well, you also said in your write-up that you felt like it was the right thing to do, just to raise your kid in a household where he has both mom and dad.
Well, that's the reason I stayed, because I had this idealistic, I didn't grow up with a mom and dad. I grew up with a single mom, and I had a stepfather some years, and most years I didn't. So it was so important for me to have a child and have that mom, dad nucleus, but not. It finally hit me like, hey, I'm causing my kid more harm than good, because all he hears is yelling, and he sees things that nobody should see. And once there was no filter, like once things were happening in front of my son, I was like, I'm literally hurting my little boy. So. Yeah.
And Maria, that question to you.
Actually, for me, I think there was only one time that he told me 10 times, I'm going to kill you. That was the only time that I actually fear for my life. That was the only time that I fear for my life. But other than that, no. And my plan when I left, I had a very good support system from my family, from actually, there's one person that I could say, he used to come from Miami. It was his cousin. He has a young cousin. He's gay. And he says that I'm his cousin. He doesn't like him. But he actually used to come from Miami to make sure that I would never go back with his cousin. Wow. And but that was the only time that I actually fear for my life. That time that he told me, I'm going to kill you. Where are you? I am going to kill you. And that's why I called the cop. But then, once I moved here, I went back with him.
Oh, so you went
Yes,
back?
I went back.
Really?
Yes. Once I left New York, he stood there. He stood in Dominican Republic for 45 days. But then he came back. He was like, where are
left?
you?
Was he surprised that you actually left?
Yeah, he thought that I was playing. He thought that I was just in my mom and my dad, because my mom and my dad used to live here. And he's like, oh, but he got here. He was like, so you did move? I said, yes, I did. He was like, and then whereas I actually ended up bringing his stuff too. So I wasn't ready to leave him then, because I went back with him.
Wow.
I went back.
So Danielle, you had a different story. You made sure that you got as far away from this guy as possible, correct?
Oh, yes. The thing is, in my personal life, I didn't realize, because I think as women, sometimes we make a lot of compromises, and I didn't even know who I was. I was so unhappy. Every fiber of my being was so trapped. I felt so trapped that I just wanted to break free. And I'm sorry, I lost track of the question.
You were on track. My question was that you made sure that you escaped far away from this.
So
this guy.
I feared for my life, because I'm talking to someone who's significantly larger than me, stronger than me. He's shown me he has no regard for my physical being. I had a lot of bruising, and it wasn't just slaps and kicks. It was significantly stronger than me, and I knew that it was just a matter of time before he would hurt me to the point of no return. And I didn't call the cops, because I wanted to get the hell out. So I went to the police station and I pressed charges. And that's also something no one really prepares you for, because you don't just go file charges and leave. It's a whole day of a situation that nobody tells you about. You have to stay there. You have to be examined by the EMTs. You have to wait for an order of protection by a judge. They have to go pick him up and arrest him. And they have to there's a lot of things that go into it. So when that was taking place, it was hours. And by the time I was able to leave, it was 5 or 6 o'clock. And I don't know if people know this. People can make bail the same day. I asked them, I said, so how soon would he be able to bail out? And the police officer is like, maybe midnight, maybe 24 hours. And that scared the daylights out of me. And I said, I have to leave. So I had the police officers actually drive me to San Francisco International Airport, and I booked a flight in the back of a cop car with my little boy on my lap. And I left. I've never gone back. I've never seen him again. And it started the next phase of my life, but I did my time. I did like 12 years, 11 years. It's like, I couldn't do it again.
That's powerful. Literally left with the clothes on your back.
Legitimately, yes. It was crazy, but I didn't care. I've never felt more free. And I was like, I'm just happy I finally got there. And I didn't realize I had community until I left. I had friends that helped me clear out the apartment. I was able to donate almost everything. I broke the lease. It's amazing what you could do nowadays with technology and an iPhone.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about that freedom, I guess you could say. Let's talk about today. Let's talk about right now. So that catapult both of you all's career or life for you guys to go on and achieve your goals. So let's talk about, Maria, where you are right now.
Actually, I'm in a good. I'm great. I love it. I have got remarried again with a very good husband.
That's beautiful.
Yes, a very good husband. And actually, I wanted it to be a nurse, and then I wanted it to be an interior design. But then once I moved here, something said, you know what? Take all that art and let's do something good. Because I'm sweet, like I said, I'm a very sweet person, and actually, there I go. So I said I'm gonna be a good baker, and I was like reborn here in Tampa. So I love Tampa because I was literally reborn in Tampa, and yes, and I became a good baker, and a lot of people know me now these days. So
Yes.
I'm glad I achieve things that I have wanted to, and I'm happy.
Did you feel like just that relief, like when you finally walked away? Where you're at? Where am I? I'm right here. When you finally walked away, did you realize, like, okay, what am I going to do now? What's next? You've escaped this near-death experience, I guess you could say, and you knew something bakery or becoming a full-time baker. Was that always on your plan or on your agenda?
No, I just shift my plan once I got here.
Yeah.
Once I got here, I said, okay, I'm not going to be a nurse and I'm not going to be an interior designer. I was shooting more for the interior designer, but then I said, you know what? I take that art into cake. And I went back to New York and I took class and I said, I'm going to make a very good cake. And I actually ended up with, I would say, almost the same recipe as the baker we used to have in New York City. Mm-hmm. So, once my brother tried the cake, he was like, wow, you nailed it because it's good. It's just like our baker. And I said, okay. And then I told myself, well, you know what? Now how I'm going to sell my cake? Nobody knows me here. But then I said, you know what? People are going to know me here.
Yes.
I love that.
It was
amazing.
Determination. And I did.
So you went from survival mode to the relationship to survival of a career to just thriving.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait to dive in. She did bring us a cake, guys. So we'll dive in that. Any advice that you would give someone who is listening, who perhaps could be going through what you went through?
Or don't know when it's their time to leave?
I don't know. I just wish that they could just sit down and literally probably make a list of the good and the bad, and definitely there's going to be more bad than the good, and just like analyze, go to therapy. Definitely go to therapy. That's your cake.
That's my cake.
Go to therapy, because I think if you get some professional help, most likely it will happen sooner, because nobody wants to go through that. No woman wants to go through that.
Wow.
Well, I don't know, men probably they go through domestic violence too.
Yeah,
but
Well, and I've been meaning to kind of read into these statistics. More than 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in the U.S. have experienced rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner at least once in their lifetime. So it's something that these numbers are really large, pretty large, and it's something that a friend, a neighbor, a coworker could be going through and suffering in silence.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So how do you break that? As a friend, as a family member, how do I approach perhaps someone that I may feel that could be going through this?
I think because it was different to me, because I used to speak to especially his family. So I and I never listen. I think it's better if they call somebody probably that they don't know, somebody professional. I think to me, because they always used to tell me, well, you need to go, you need to walk away from that relationship. But I never listened, because I always was thinking that he was going to change. They used to change, but then, like I said, I think it will be different for other people. And I think the best thing is to sit down, like I said, write a note. What's the good and what's the bad about that person? I'm pretty sure there's going to be more bad moment that, is going to be like, well, there's something wrong here. Something wrong, and they should seek for help. Like Danielle said, there's a hotline there. And because sometimes we don't listen to our loved one, the one telling us you need to walk away, you need to walk away. We sometimes don't listen. So probably somebody else, a stranger, somebody that is professional, most likely probably, then you listen a little bit more.
Yeah. Great
That's
info.
my opinion.
Yeah, great info. Danielle, let's just tell you what's going on in your world today.
I just wanted to go back on that. I like that idea. I think I would have probably listened to anyone else I would have confided in and made a list, and then earlier had somebody else be like, hey, you need to get out. But I knew what I was going through wasn't okay. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to tell anyone. So I didn't want to cause pain to my mom or to people that love you, right? Because like when you tell them that, that's painful. So I also resonate with Tampa. I was reborn. I love it here. I've been in Tampa 6.5 years now. And so Tampa Bay really opened its doors. It's really all that. We live in such a fantastic city. I got here with nothing, with the clothing on my back. I had a really good friend gather belongings for me. So when I got here, I had children's toys, I had clothes, I had gift cards, I had everyone rallied together to just make sure I had a welcome. And then I hit the ground running and I said, all right, I got to piece through my life. So I had several wonderful women become mentors to me. And I eventually got hired at my first job here at a local law firm. It's a mid-sized law firm through, a recommendation, a phone call. And there I met a really good mentor who also helped me prepare for my next phase. So I worked 2 years under a law firm. And then I started, we're going to Agatha's.
No. We'll get to Agatha.
So I started my own law firm during COVID because I said, all right, I finally realized that I want to do something. I'm moved by purpose, not just work. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't do something that I wasn't passionate about. I was really good at immigration law, and I speak very good Spanish. Being born here, it's not that common to speak very good Spanish that connected me with my community. So I started my own law firm. I said, I'm going to start my own firm. And then that led me to the next thing. I said, well, my 40th birthday was approaching. I felt so grateful of everything that God and the community has poured into me. I said, how am I going to give this back? I had this idea a while ago. So I started something called Agatha's Relief Fund. One of the things that I realized going through this process is a lot of the organizations that exist, I give them all their flowers. They're there to help you get out and maybe do a temporary injunction, right? The first thing the cops asked me, number one, they're like, well, if you have a child with you, there are no shelters that will take you, period. Really? There were no shelters available that will take me with a baby because of liability reasons. Then I said, okay. Then the next thing I knew, I was hit with a divorce decree that my spouse at the time found me through a private investigator and served me with divorce. It's extraordinarily expensive to get divorced. So I realized there's nowhere I can reach out to with this emergency petition to respond to X, Y, and Z. So I started something called Agatha's Relief Fund. It's small but mighty. And on my 40th birthday, we've been able to help women who are leaving these situations that need legal help. And what does that look like? For example, our last client was a lady who had a 9-day-old baby, and her partner and her had physical violence issues. And he went and filed an injunction, a protective order on behalf of the child against the mom. And they took the mom away. And they took the baby away. And she had to get ready for a trial to defend herself from that. And there's no organization who's going to step in and pay a legal fee of that size in a 4-day notice. So we helped her link up with an excellent attorney. We were able to pay most of her legal fees to be able to do that and get her baby back. So those are the kinds of moments that I know from experience. Who are you going to turn to when you are 9 days postpartum or trying to leave a situation or you don't have money? So this is a small gap that I'm trying to fill with Agatha's Relief Fund. Obviously, there are wonderful organizations here that will help you. I know the Spring does some legal work, but when you have to respond to a divorce, I've met women who've lost their children. I've met women who've lost the ability to have alimony because they couldn't hire legal representation. My mom, I asked her, I'm like, man, why'd you get the short end of the stick with this divorce? When she got divorced, she's like, well, I couldn't afford a lawyer. So she just signed whatever paper she was served. So I started this organization as my way to give back because I believe in paying it forward, right? Like if I can help one person with one thing, that already, means a lot to me.
Guys, unfortunately, we got to take a quick break, and we'll get right back into how you guys can follow and know more about their story and get to know these two beautiful ladies. So stand by. We'll be right back. We are back, Rooted in Progress, WFLA Studios, and we're here talking with Maria and Danielle. Both are survivors of domestic violence. Also on our screen, if you are listening, is Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE, 1-800-799-SAFE, or you could text the word START, START, to 88788 if you are experiencing any type of domestic violence. So, ladies, unfortunately, our time is wrapping up here. We only have a few more minutes, but just leave us with a little bit of advice that you would like to pass on to perhaps our listeners. Anybody?
Okay, well, I would say if you are thinking about it, if you're going through something like this, reach out to somebody you trust, talk to someone, and put yourself first. Think about your safety. My biggest advice is make sure you are taking care of yourself, whatever that looks like. Take care of yourself first. And if you have kids, please take care and protect your kids. And there are resources available. I wish I would have gone somewhere professionally first to help me kind of weigh the pros and cons, but there are resources out there, and please take advantage of them.
Yeah. Maria, what about
thing.
you? Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are for free out there. It's a lot of service, definitely. Not only for you, but do it also if you have kids. Do it for your kids, because they are left with a lot of damage behind. You know, they suffer a lot. They do, and you know, I have a 20 and a 22-year-old, and they have suffered a lot from that relationship that I was. So yes. They could call me too, you know. They could call me.
Would you guys
Somebody
recommend
out there?
Would you recommend having a plan? I mean, maybe someone feel like they can leave, they want to leave, but they don't have a plan.
Actually,
Yes. So I know all of these organizations, the Spring, the Domestic Violence Hotline, I didn't hesitate. They won't take your information. They won't take anything. They will just brainstorm with you and be like, what do you need? I had to basically steal my own Social Security card and passports and credit cards and tuck them away. And I knew I had to do it that morning. So there were certain things that are really hard to replace if you don't have. Come up with a plan and a strategy. Mine sounds like a movie, but I did. I was like, hey, I knew I was going to turn around. I knew I was going to take a lift. I knew I wasn't going to use any credit cards because I was scared. But those resources are there. Use them. And you can, I think you could even do a chat. They have like a little chat feature on the website that you can chat with someone so you don't have to talk to them.
oh, nice.
So again, Maria has a wonderful bakery. It's called Sugarita's, correct, Maria?
Yes.
Maria, you brought us a little gift. Do you mind just holding that up for us right now?
Definitely.
Let's see what she has. Guys, this is from
so
her
pretty.
amazing bakery. And did you stay up all night baking that, Maria?
No, actually, I
For us.
decorated it this morning.
Get out of here.
I did.
So we can't wait to dive in.
did.
She has a ton of goodies over here.
What kind of cake is this one?
Well, this one has guava and dulce de leche in the middle.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Oh my God. That looks amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, hope you guys enjoy it.
Yes, and we thank you for coming in. And guys, we laugh now, but you know, without the bravery of these women, you know, they wouldn't be here today. So again, if you are suffering in silence, please, you could call the Domestic Violence Hotline, and there's other programs out there that you can just Google search. But that hotline number is 1-800-799-SAFE, or you could text the word START to 88788. Danielle, real quick, give us information how they can follow you, donate, so on, all the good stuff.
So Agatha's Relief Fund has its own website. You can also follow me. I'm on Instagram. I'm very active on my socials at Danielle Hernandez, Florida. On IG, stay tuned. We're going to have a fundraiser sometime early next year, and we're going to really get the organization going.
Great. And Maria, how can folks get a hold of you and get some of these delicious pastries?
Hopefully, if God permits, I'm gonna be opening up a bakery.
Nice.
Exit 10. So it's gonna be like a different. It's gonna be like a bakery with a little shop, so you could grab a gift and get some goodies.
Wow.
So hopefully, looking forward for that. Yes, and they could contact me in Sugarita 111. I have a couple of pages, so
Okay.
yes.
Sugaritas. So,
Sugarita.
well, ladies, we want to thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. This was an amazing experience, amazing interview. So, again, from the bottom of our hearts, we say thank you.
Yes, and we would like to invite you ladies back on when you are hosting that event and when you open a
Oh,
new bakery.
yes.
Yeah,
Sure, tell us all
absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely. So,
Yes.
Naisha,
What's up,
great job.
Terrence?
So, this was deep.
Yeah,
You know?
it was a really deep conversation. I was like, my eyes were welling up often because survival it's easier said than done
Yeah.
always, no matter
Right.
what kind of situation that you're in. But just hearing these ladies' testimony,
Yes.
that's what I want to call it, their testimony, and how they are now thriving. They didn't let that define them, and it's just beautiful. So
Well, we can't close out the show without paying homage to domestic violence awareness by rocking our purple today.
We're purple.
Yeah,
that is
so-
the color of Domestic Violence Awareness
Yeah,
Month.
so tell folks how they continue to watch our show.
All right, you can find us on, first you can make sure you follow us on our social pages. That's WFLA Rooted in Progress on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. But to watch this episode, you can tune in to the WFLA app for your TV, your smart TV, WFLA.com, and on all the streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. But for now, as we wrap up October,
Yes.
stay rooted.
Stay rooted, guys. Thank you.